Okay, which says we're recording.
Yay.
Welcome back to the Intuitive Body and Soul, affectionately known as Tibbs TV. I'm going to give Debbie some room. I am Joan Turner, the founder, and this is what's her name? No, I'm kidding. This is Deborah Carpenter, your co-host and founder of Halo Healing Method. And now you have a website.
I do. Ascendwithhalohealing.com. Check it out. And we're actually working on putting a link from Tibbs TV to her site so that you'll have two ways to actually access her content. So that would be extremely cool. But today we have an exciting show. We have Mr. Willy Miranda coming on, and he works. His show is the Paradigm Matrix on KCOR Digital Radio. Okay, and he's been doing this for like 4 years now. He's hosted the Greater New England UFO Conference back in 2019. He worked as a co-organizer for the Greater New England UFO Conference now. And like I said, he's been doing that for 4 years. So help us in welcoming our guest, Mr. Willy Miranda. Let's admit him. Because of the pandemic in North, we are doing everything virtually. So thank you, Willy, for joining us and being willing to talk to us. So we were telling everyone that you've been at KCOR Digital Radio for 4 years?
Three.
Almost
3, yep, almost 3.
3 or 4. And obviously you like doing that, right? So
yes, I do.
How did you get into this line of work? I heard a story about you when you were 6 years old. Is that when it started or before then?
Yes, I was, let me see.
Very small.
Yeah, I was about 5 or 6.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was before first grade.
Is it okay to tell the story? You tell the story.
Yeah,
right?
not a problem at all. It was in Puerto Rico. It was back in 1973. Okay.
And you were 6 years old. Now everyone knows how old you are, Willy.
That's fine. That's fine.
Mind.
These days, nothing's private. You Google anything.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that's so anyway, going to school back then in Puerto Rico, you can at recess you could go out and go home, grab lunch, come back. Cool. So it was very, let's say back in the 70s in Puerto Rico, it was probably like the 50s here in the States. Okay, so there was that innocence, let's say. People had their doors open, their car doors open, nothing like it is today. Yeah. All right. So I went along and we're gonna have lunch with my friend. Okay, and we went up to his house. And on the way back, I happened to look to my right, and there's an embankment, but there is the rooftop of another building. Okay, and there what I thought what I saw was probably a fly about the size of a rugby football.
How big is a rugby football? Do this with you.
That's about.
That's bigger than a fly. Willy.
Yes, what I can interpret as a fly.
Yeah.
Okay. To this, I've had some people tell me differently, but for the mind of a 5-6-year-old,
it's a fly.
It's to me, I interpret it as a fly. It had the big eyes. It had what I thought would maybe wings, and it was just eating on a bunch of mangoes that had dropped from trees. Okay. And I looked at it. This went for about 5-10 seconds. I mean, I stayed looking at it. It's staring at me. And I wasn't scared or anything. I just turned around and my friend was already,
He didn't see it.
He didn't see it. We kept on walking. So I just walked right behind him and I never mentioned it to anybody. Now, I grew up in a Pentecostal household, okay? Uh-huh. And if I would have said something, I'd probably be told that, I saw the devil or I saw, anything like that. So it was something I didn't talk about until until I started getting involved in co-organizing the Greater New England UFO Conference about 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Then I started openly talking about it.
That's great. That's great.
Now, there's a lot of things that go on in Puerto Rico in the jungle, isn't there? Isn't there a lot of experiments? And I don't know if our government's involved. Probably. Is that true?
Well, this could be a show for hours if we start talking about Puerto Rico. The Enchanted Island is really, I would say it's alive. There's a lot of paranormal things that go on. Not only paranormal, but UFO sightings, cryptids. Okay, the chupacabras originally were reported, and that term was originally brought up in Puerto Rico. All right. Now the jungles that you're talking about is the rainforest. It's the only U.S. rainforest in the U.S. forest system is in Puerto Rico. Now, even though Hawaii may have a rainforest,
It does. Yeah.
but under the control of the United States Forest System, El Yunque, it is the only rainforest that it's under the control of the United States Forest System. Okay, and it's a huge rainforest. I mean, it is a water making machine. 11 billion gallons of rainwater fall each year.
Wow.
Okay, in this place. I mean, the place is amazing, but the government is involved there with some experiments. Okay, I mean they have it in plain sight, let's say, and I mean there's some areas that you can't go. Okay, now people say it's what.
Have you ever seen like equipment for to build underground bunkers or anything?
No,
like that?
but I've had many.
Let's go back to the story. I don't think we ever
Yeah.
finished the story. Before we get too far away from it, I
Well-
want to know like whatever happened with that. Okay. I
With
know you
what?
said
With
you never mentioned your experience to anyone.
no,
with
never did, never did.
Did you ever? Finally, you did, right? So what
Yeah.
was?
Yes, finally I did in
what happened?
September. Yeah, in September of last year, I was in Puerto Rico. I went down with my son and his girlfriend, went to visit some family, and I also went to visit a good friend of mine who I've interviewed on my radio show. He is a former journalist, and he's also one of the first investigators that investigated the chupacabra sightings, and that's George Martin Miranda. Now, I went down there and met him. And
Did you tell him?
Oh, no, he already knew. I had to talk to him about it. But I met his wife, and his wife was telling me, it's interesting enough that happened back in that time period. She goes, what you probably saw was a chupacabra.
Oh.
But back in in 73, the sightings weren't as pervasive as in the 80s when the big outbreak. Okay, so it kind of made sense to me. I wasn't scared or anything. It wasn't like I had missing time.
Is that because you were 6? If you saw it now, would it scare you?
I think no. I really think that it probably meant not for me to be scared of it. Now, going back to the subject of the chupacabra, many decades ago, before the 80s and before the big flap of the chupacabra sightings, a lot of kids were seeing it, and not adults.
Now I'm wondering
Should
how
we
this.
explain what it is?
I'm wondering how this ties in with what you guys were talking about.
Well, somehow there's experiments going on somewhere.
That's what I mean. I'm wondering.
Yeah, there is experiments going on in that region of the island. Okay, like let me see, when I went down to Puerto Rico, as a matter of fact, this last September, my son's girlfriend's father was a colonel at a military school. Okay, they went on a field trip. Now, this is a story that I've heard many years ago from somebody else had the same experience. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now, my son's girlfriend's father basically told me, he says, hey, listen, because I was telling him a story about El Yunque and an encounter that a friend of mine had with some military people.
Repeat. A Duque?
El Yunque.
El Junque. Okay,
Yeah, El
that's the
Junque.
forest.
Yes, the
Yes.
rainforest.
All right, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, anyway, they were gonna the commandant of the academy, of the military academy, had made arrangements with the Forest Service to have the kids camp overnight. Okay,
Ah,
at a certain area of Ajunque. And hey, listen, this is something that's common. Anyway, Boy Scouts do it and everything else. But anyway, they had that permission and they planned everything. They set up tent. Now, sun goes down, and all of a
I love
sudden,
these stories. I want to sit by the
these com-
campfire and listen to these.
these commandos show up. These commandos show up in military gear,
Oh my God.
and they tell them, you need to leave the area. So the commandant's like, hey, listen, we worked on this for weeks. We asked for permission. We got written permission here to be here. And then one of the soldiers told him, hey, listen, yeah, you can be here, but it's not exactly here. You have to move somewhere else.
Must have been an escapee somewhere.
I wonder if, obviously
so
something happened
Some sort of
between
sighting.
the time they got the okay and the time they were actually there. Something
Maybe
happened.
that-
well, I think they were in the wrong area, period. A
Okay.
good friend of mine was telling me that
Oh,
a former service member that used to work with him went to El Junque with the family, and we're walking one of the trails, and he found like a gated area, like a black gate with bars, and it looked very old Spanish, like a fortification type of gate. It's an iron black gate, and he opened it and went through the gate, and all of a sudden these commandos show up right out of nowhere, out of the forest with
Yeah.
weapons.
that's a sign right there.
And they told him, you need to leave this area. And he's telling them, well, I'm retired Army. They said, hey, we appreciate it, but you need to turn around with your family and go.
Okay.
Now,
So that's
Willy,
Definitely
now,
tells
Willy,
us
you
what
gotta-
you're saying.
you got to wonder, these commandos, where do they live? I mean, do they have
Well,
family
there's a base there. You know what I mean? There's a base
on a
there.
base?
Yeah, there's a base there. So
Oh.
it's not, they don't acknowledge it, but it's there. So if you show up with a camera or something up there, they're gonna confiscate your camera if you're taking any film or whatever. It's a secret facility. So,
Yeah.
but it's in the middle of a touristic, one of the most touristic places in the island.
And it's owned by our government?
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it is controlled by the U.S. Forest Service.
Sure. Oh.
So,
That's, I didn't know that. I have never been
Yeah.
to Puerto Rico.
yeah, it's very interesting. Puerto Rico is
Beautiful,
it's a
beautiful.
territory.
I met many
Yeah.
people from there, but not,
Yeah, it is a territory. So we are U.S. citizens. The only difference is that we could vote, but in order to vote for presidential elections, we would have to be here.
Oh,
You can't do it in the island because in the island is officially is not a state. It's a territory.
gotcha. So
Okay.
you also study cryptozoology, UFOs, conspiracy, and anything that's paranormal, correct?
Yes.
I had
Yes.
to Google cryptozoology. So why don't you tell people what that is so that
Well, cryptozoology is is basically any animal that's not recognized.
yeah,
you know,
the
and-
existence
and-
is not
that we
proven.
Like
probably
in-
wouldn't see in our zoo, right?
Right.
Yes. We're talking about the Loch Ness Monster. We're talking about
Yeah.
Bigfoot.
Or the Yeti.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or the Yeti.
So there are animals that their existence is disputed.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
how do you study something like that? What does that entail?
Well, you research it. You research it,
How
but
do
the
you
thing
research
is, there's two camps. There's a
Right.
There's a camp that believes that Bigfoot is a flesh and bone, missing link type. Like like a giant ape, like an extinct giant ape. And also, there's another camp that says they're more interdimensional beings. Okay.
What's your take on it? Because now you're getting into Deb's territory here.
My take, I like to say, and I've interviewed Stan Gordon. Now, Stan's been in the cryptozoology business for about 50 to 60 years. and he started out with the Kecksburg UFO incident. Okay, if you're not familiar with that, it was like an acorn-shaped craft that had fallen, okay, in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
All right. So, and he's been doing a lot of research on Bigfoot, and he's taken a lot of reports. But he even told me that he was leaning on the side that these creatures are interdimensional. You know, a lot of people don't want to talk about the fact that also where there's a UFO report, there's a Bigfoot sighting. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
my take is that the paranormal, the cryptozoology and ufology is they're all in hand. I believe that we live in a very paranormal planet.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I believe there's people that have gifts, the gifts to see, to be clairvoyant or to be ultra sensitive.
Do you have any of those abilities?
No, mean, I've been told that I'm an empath, but I don't think I'm nothing close to an empath. I don't think. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't see myself that way anyway.
Well,
But I
everyone is
do like to talk.
to a certain extent.
I do like to talk about the subject.
Yeah,
I do like to, I'm very open-minded.
Yeah.
Okay, I consider
really
myself
good.
very open-minded.
I think you kind of have to be because no one really knows all the answers. So you got to leave the door open a little bit because
Of course,
who knows?
of course.
Yeah, but try meeting somebody for the first time and telling them what you believe and see and know from firsthand experience, and right away you're judged.
Yeah, that's never good.
Well, they haven't had some type of experience themselves, and a lot of people really just
If they do, they will believe it.
yeah. And listen, a lot of people are not, even though they'll laugh and stuff, but they've had experiences themselves and they don't want to talk about it.
That's
Or
true.
they're not ready. Or they're not ready.
I've met many. Yep.
Yes.
And sometimes they just need to know that there are other people out there who have had experiences.
Right. They're not the only crazy.
Right.
Of course. That's one of the biggest things that being involved at the Greater New England UFO Conference was the amount of people that were coming in and asking me, I saw something and I'm here to get answers, or I'm missing time, or I'm having experiences and who do I talk to? I need help.
Yep.
So where do you send them? Who do they talk to?
Luckily enough, that time I was able to, Mike Stevens was there, and the group from Seacoast Saucers that he belonged to and originally were there, and I was able to direct them to those people, to those groups.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that are out there that have had experiences, and they're living a nightmare because they don't know who to talk to.
Right. And society doesn't accept it.
Yeah, exactly. There's still a little bit of taboo out there in regards to this. Yeah, in regards to this, but I think it's gotten a lot better than before.
Getting a lot better.
Yeah, a lot better.
I think even if people don't wholeheartedly agree or believe, most people at this point have had some exposure where they're at least interested, questioning. Yeah.
Yep.
At this point.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with the advent of the internet, and of course, many of these shows. I mean, some of these shows you kind of wonder, but.
But there's actually two things involved here. There's the paranormal belief, and then there's the galactic beings belief, which are two specific.
Are they different?
Well, they're really not, but people do make them different. Oh, you're a psychic? Well, I don't believe in aliens. It's like, hate to tell you, but.
Yeah, you probably all have alien DNA, right?
We do. Of course we do.
Yeah.
Well, you can imagine some of these natives when they saw the Spanish conquistadors coming out of those boats and everything else, and and these weapons that just shot fire or whatever.
Magic
for them, they were aliens.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Aliens, gods.
Oh, gods. They look at them as gods.
That's right. So
when you co-organized for the Greater New England UFO conferences, what did you do for them? Did you go out looking for people? Did you advertise?
Yeah, it was
What was
basically,
your job?
yeah, my involvement, my main involvement was getting the guest,
Getting the guests.
yeah, getting
Okay.
the guest,
So, and how do
recommending guest.
recommending guests? So how do you recommend guests? How do you find people who are interested and knowledgeable and credible? You got to find someone who's credible. Okay, it's like sometimes you
Yeah,
listen.
sometimes you get burned also. We got
Yeah.
burned one time pretty bad with somebody who was notable. You know, I'm not going to mention names, but, uh, you know, it happens. You know, it happens. You know, and these guys here are also, you know, there's not a lot of money to be made in any of this, you know. So, I mean, the speaking engagements, you know, you pay them for their time, and you put them up in a hotel, and you know, you pay for the transportation
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's the cost of running a conference, you know, and then everything is volunteered work, you know.
Right.
And at the end, you know, you try to to try to break even, so we're able to give something to the volunteers, you know, like a
Yeah.
nice dinner or something.
Well, how do you go about finding
Oh,
people?
you know, it's
Do
so
a directory of paranormal
I
people?
think it's
no,
word, don't you think it's word of mouth?
Is it all
no,
over?
some of it's word of mouth, and some of it is just approaching them and emailing them and getting in touch with them,
Well, it's just
you
like a
know.
psychic, you know, when you sign up for a
Yeah,
psychic reading, you don't know that person, but if somebody else recommended them,
yeah, it's really not that, you know, it's really not that difficult. I mean, and you have to, and you just have to use common sense. You know, you meet these people, you see them at some other event.
it's got to be a gut feeling.
Yeah, you see them at some other event, you
Yeah.
know, and you see their mannerisms, you see how they interact with people on tables, you know, at book
So
signings.
what do you use for criteria? Okay, so you did that for like 5 years. You meet someone. What's the criteria? Do you know what I mean? How do you know, even for your radio show now, when you interview people or you see them, what criteria do you use, and what convinces you that this person is sincere and or knowledgeable?
Well, let me tell you, I do my research before I bring anybody onto the
Okay.
show.
So by research,
Uh,
you're
yeah.
looking for where they've spoken or where they've
Oh,
been
you know,
having
you know,
ideas.
a lot of them have books. A lot of them I know already from
Yeah,
past experiences.
right.
Okay. And the show has gotten some legs now. The radio
Yeah,
show has gotten some legs where people are coming to me.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm basically, I'm not
You're
doing
not
so much
having
looking
to
for,
look,
yes.
but I kind of was like wondering if you meet someone, how do you know they just don't want to be on your show? How do you know that you know what I mean? So I was
They
interested.
would be interested. A lot of people are really interested in being on a show if they're invited as a
Right,
guest.
right, right.
You know, it's coast to coast is not going to take everybody.
That's
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
you know, they're not going to take everybody. And also it's a different format. It's a long show, so you have to be up to it. You know, my show is 1 hour. Okay, so
Yeah.
we got
Ours are
one
too.
commercial break at the bottom of the hour, and you know, the basically Tina Marie, she runs a station like an FM station. You know, she's got
Nice.
25 years in radio,
Yeah,
so she runs a tight ship. You know, with
that's great.
over 70 or 80 hours of programming. So
Wow, wow.
yeah, so there's
We
a
have,
lot of shows. There's a lot of shows on the network.
yeah, there are a lot of shows.
Yeah, I'm just one of
One
many.
of many. What made you decide radio versus TV?
Well, I was gonna do a podcast originally.
I saw
Okay.
that. I saw you
Yeah.
on podcast.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, so Tina, what she does is she takes the show is a live show.
Oh,
So
okay.
so it is a live show. At the end of the show, she'll do in 2 hours or maybe less. She'll convert that into a podcast. Okay,
Nice.
basically, and it's just a little bit of editing. If you know, if I misspoke or if I had a brain fart, you know, which
Yeah.
sometimes happens.
Sometimes it happens to us too. Like you forget your
Okay.
co-host name.
Oh, I have technical difficulties. Like
Yeah.
one time, Windows started updating in the middle of me, you know, and starting my show. So I've had to jump and grab my, you know, she's had to start my interview while I go and call on Skype on my phone so I could join back in.
Exactly.
So, you know, this has happened to me twice. So you try to prepare as much as possible, and it's one of those things, you always got to be ready. You always got to be ready
Some
to,
things it's
yeah.
just unforeseen. We have
Yes.
a wonderful tech person. Her name is Tara. And she's like, she adjusts the lighting so that we look good. She
Oh yeah, you
normally
need
cuts
that.
out the goofy stuff,
Yeah,
but
you need
sometimes she'll
that.
leave it in.
You need that.
Yeah, you need that. You need
Yes,
that
You need that.
person. Okay,
That's right.
it's not too often though. We have lulls in our shows.
never.
She'll keep it up.
She says that. She says that, and then she does all the talking.
No, I don't.
No, I've seen some of the shows. You guys done a great job.
Thank you. Thank you, Willie. Okay, so anything paranormal, right? So you have dealt with UFOs. Do you deal with spirits and ghosts and that's
I
all
interview,
paranormal?
I interview in that subject, but
Yeah.
I'm not one to, like, if they tell me, hey, let's go and,
Oh, ghost hunting. Yeah, Tom
yeah,
Spitaleri.
Yeah.
yes, hey, let's go to the cemetery,
Let's go to
and it's like,
cemetery.
That's
no,
that's not a place
no.
for
I'll tell you, Tom does a good job. So not knocking Tom at all. Tom Spitaleri does a great job.
No,
But
of course, and I gotta call him because he's
yeah,
been
I know.
hounding me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I've been so, it's and I'm like, oh my God, I get some messages, I get so many messages, so
Uh-huh.
I gotta call him.
Yeah,
But no, Tom is great.
call him back, okay? Because he puts on a good podcast as well. I was on there at one point. It was fun. It was fun. So,
Good,
but
good.
I agree with you. Walking around at night in the cemetery is probably not my first.
Well, we can talk to
Choice.
dead people in our own kitchen.
own
Why would
kitchen.
we need
Yeah.
to go to a
But what about
One thing that I'm a big believer in is some of these things that if you don't know what you're doing,
yeah?
don't go in dwelling into
Well,
it.
that's true.
I mean, these things are real.
Yeah,
Okay, there is such a thing as good and evil.
yeah. That's what
Okay,
my sister says.
and I think people go in, they think that this is a game, and it's because they see it on TV and they see somebody on TV
Leaderboards.
doing it,
Yeah.
then they're gonna go and they're
Right.
gonna try it out.
You're right.
Okay, and let me tell you, it's
There's more to it than they think.
yes, and you play with fire, you're gonna get burned. That's plain and simple.
If
You
you
know,
believe,
and
if you believe in positive energy, it's naive to think that there's no
Yeah.
negative energy. Is it really evil? I don't know, but it's definitely negative.
where do you think that a lot of these murders and everything else come from? These acts of violence. You think the person was, you never know. You never know what
So
they.
do you believe in poltergeist activity? Do you believe in ghosts, spirits?
And
What's your
possessions and stuff like that. Of course,
Oh, you
of
do?
course.
Okay.
Well,
Of
being
course.
in Puerto Rico, wouldn't they have a lot of that? Do they have black magic there? I know.
Well, there's people down there that practice the religion of Santeria,
Yeah.
which is like the
When I was in Peru, there was a lot about that.
yeah.
I was kind of investigating about that issue, and I learned a lot.
So what do you guys
What to stay away from?
These well, these people really know how to they respect the they respect that aspect of it, of the spirituality of it and everything else, but they also respect the nature of it. I'll tell you a quick story. I got sick in Chicago, really sick as a child. Must have been 7 or 8 years old, and I couldn't keep anything in my stomach. Could not keep anything. My mother bounced me from one hospital, from one ER to the other.
Yeah.
They would give me liquids. I could not keep it down. I would just, I don't know. They couldn't figure it out. When my mother got impatient, she grabbed me and she took me to this lady. Right? There was a santera. Now these people, they dress in white, and
a santera?
yeah, santera.
What's a santera?
Santera is almost, let me see. It's a female. What would you call it? Like a witch doctor, they would call it.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
But not considered evil. She wouldn't take you.
No. They dress in white. They dress in all white.
Okay.
And I remember
I don't know where they get their-
my mother takes me up to this, this
Santera.
three decker up in Chicago, right?
Uh-huh.
And anyway, so we go up, and this lady opens the door. Big black lady. She's dressed in all white, and she says, "How can I help you?" Well, my son, he's been throwing up, talking in Spanish, and she says, "Bring him over here." So she grabs She grabs a cigar and she turns it inside and she puts it inside her mouth. She starts blowing smoke all around me. She grabs this bush and she beats it
That'd
all
give me a
around,
stomach ache.
and then she lays me down, right? She lays me down. She goes, "What's wrong?" I threw up, as a matter of fact, on her rug, and I'm trying to clean it. And she goes, "Don't worry about it." She goes, "Lay down over here." She laid me down on the sofa, and she says, "What are you feeling?" And I go, I just can't hold nothing down. I've been throwing up." So she put her hands on my stomach, and she just started massaging my stomach, like massaging my stomach. And I felt something open up in my stomach. And she goes, "Did you feel that?" And I go, "Yes." She goes, she says, the entrance to your stomach was shut. She
Huh.
says, "And that's why, you know what? I didn't took care of it just like that."
That's amazing.
Just like that. So, a lot of these people, they also do, herbal medicine.
Yeah.
They do, everything to do with natural.
Well, being in
No.
a rainforest it's abundant, right? All these.
Well, Puerto Rico is not entirely a rainforest. That's just one section of Puerto Rico. There's Junc is just one big section, but the entire island is not a rainforest. This is stuff
Well,
that's practiced.
jungle.
Yeah.
There's lots of things in the jungle.
Yeah, but they use a lot of things. You know what I mean? They use a lot of, they use a lot of herbs and.
But she didn't use anything except cigar smoke, which would have made me sick to my stomach right
And
then
a
and there.
branch. A branch.
Yeah,
Brand. Did
yeah,
you
she just, and I think it's to ward off
Oh, any
bad spirits, anything
negativity?
bad,
But
and then
then she just used her own energy.
yeah,
The
yes,
smoke probably would be like we use sage or sage.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
So
That's
what do you
exactly
think
what it is.
happened there? What do you think happened there? Because she put her hands on you and she obviously had intention, which was
Yeah.
to help.
No, I think I think she knew what she was doing.
To release the
Yeah.
block.
Yes, to
But
release
she
the
would have
block. I
had
think
to know
I
there
think
was
she
a
knew.
block first.
Well,
I think she really knew there's something that the doctors didn't know.
Yeah.
And the doctors now are looking at things like this and they're going, "Oh, maybe we could try that."
Yeah.
Look at acupuncture. That's the same thing.
But
For
was it
release.
That was something that was very shunned many years ago in the medical industry. In
Yeah.
the medical
But
industry.
why was your stomach blocked? Was it an energy block?
Oh no, I think I just probably something that I ate. I don't know. I mean, it just
Closed your stomach.
I got no idea what.
It had to happen for a learning experience for you to.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, to this day, I mean, I'll
Look
I'll never forget that, and I look at that very differently.
at all the things you can pull up,
Yeah,
that are helping you in your
In
future.
your field.
it was very positive.
Good.
It was very, very positive.
How
So-
much did she charge?
I don't think she charged anything. I think my mother gave her
just
something.
curious.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
You're a witness. She struck me.
It's amazing. It's amazing what these humble people
Yes.
can do.
Yes. They give of themselves freely.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do,
Yeah.
and they do it out of love.
They do it
You know,
out of
they-
love.
they-
Because I was
they do
just
not-
going to ask you that. What were her surroundings like? Was she?
Oh, all right, I could tell you the all details of her house. She had statues everywhere. It
So
was
she
just.
wasn't like poor or destitute or anything.
Oh
like
no.
Okay.
I mean, this woman was rich in
Yeah.
ways that
Money can't buy, right?
yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. I heard a
I
saying
believe so. I
today.
think one of the biggest things that she was probably very rich in was her state of mind,
Right.
and
Her
probably
spirituality.
and spirituality, and how she fit here in this world, and
Uh-huh.
where she stood. Most importantly, where she stood.
Okay, her purpose in the world. I heard a
Yes.
saying today that said some people are so poor, all they have is money. Now that's
Yeah,
Deb's thinking, that doesn't make any sense.
that is
But give
that
that
is true.
That
I
is
know
so
what that
true.
means.
Does it? Do you?
Yeah.
So
That is true. That is true.
that's
It's
very
like
true.
that's like you're so smart,
Mhm.
you're stupid.
Yeah. Well, those experiences right there, I believe the one in Puerto Rico and the one in Chicago. And the one in Chicago with this.
You made me snort on TV. What a woman, I'm telling you. Okay, sorry. So do you believe that you have to find your purpose in life? And when we do Tibbs TV, this is what we're looking for. People like you who kind of find their passion or their purpose, and then they use that to add value to other people's lives. Do you think that that's what people are supposed to be doing? And sometimes that is on a spiritual level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in that. I'm also a big believer in the people that you meet or the people that you encounter. Okay, there's synchronicity.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it.
You
know, for how much little time you spend with that person, or even if it's a short conversation, it's something that can enhance your life or enhance their life.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm a big believer in that.
Something that stays with you, even if it's a short.
And I believe that things are meant to be. You know, they're nothing's by chance.
I agree with that. Even the tough things, I think, because we learn from them. Hopefully, if we have a growth mindset, we learn from them. But,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So you still didn't answer my question, Mr. Willy. Do you believe in ghosts and spirit? Have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever seen a spirit?
No, I never had an encounter with a spirit or anything like that. My sister has an encounter with a double, what do they call that? Like a twin, the evil.
Like a doppelganger?
Doppelganger, yep.
Gang.
Yeah. She had an experience with her son. Yeah, she had an experience with her son. It was really freaky.
What happened? Does she mind if you tell the story?
I don't think so. I think, she told me years ago, and it was, as a matter of fact, I had mentioned it on an interview, and it was very, it was her son, her middle son, I believe.
Okay.
And she had put him in a corner. Time out.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So she put him in a corner, and then she sent him upstairs. After he was done, go to sleep. So she's watching TV, and she sees him, like standing in front of her. She turns around, and he's there. So she says to him, "I told you to go upstairs. So why are you back down here?" So but she said he looked different. Just looked didn't look like him. Just looked evil. Something was wrong. So she says she grabbed him by the hand, by the arm, and brought him.
Kill him.
Oh yeah, she physically grabbed him and brought him upstairs to his room while he's laying in the bed.
Now I was just going to say that to you.
She completely freaked out and started and looked at him, and when she looked who she had in her arm, looked like her son, like my nephew, but it was just had an evilness about him. Okay.
Some kind of negativity.
And maybe talking about, and I'm not talking about Damien either. You know what I mean? Just a little different. And she just shook him and said, she started repenting him and just calling the name of the Lord and Jesus, and all of a sudden he just disappeared.
I was just going to say, how did she get rid of him? I'm gonna say hi to Muriel. Muriel is joining us. Hello, Muriel. If you can hear
Sometimes
me.
they have black eyes too.
Yeah, she described them to me. I mean, she was very upset.
Oh,
very upset. I mean, she says, I grabbed him. I mean, I physically had him in my arm, had him by the forearm, and brought him upstairs. I mean, that must have been something. She brings him upstairs, and she's like, wait a minute, he's there.
well, that's the last time she's going to punish your nephew.
Who am I holding here?
Exception. He took exception to that.
Excuse me.
Wow.
Amazing.
Okay, so has anything like that ever happened to her since? I mean, that's pretty dramatic.
No,
by itself,
I don't think so.
No, huh?
I don't think so.
Well, she's probably.
My brother's had a couple of UFO experiences and paranormal experiences, but
Who has? Your mother?
No, my brother.
Your mother.
My
okay,
brother,
I can hear good.
Yeah, he's a little bit opposite of me. He enjoys all that. He'll stay overnight at some haunted Victorian home. Like
he does. He'll do the.
Won't phase him at all.
Yeah.
You know,
A
won't
lot of
phase
people
them.
like that. I actually have to say, I would do something like that. I mean, um, I don't know if I'd stay the whole weekend. I would depend on how I felt, but I would be interested in doing something like that for sure. Not going into a graveyard with Tom and, you know, doing stuff like that. If a place, a place I knew was reputed to be haunted,
Having a picnic on top of the grave.
having a picnic there, yeah.
You
No.
know, it's like you know,
So,
to me it's a place of respect.
yeah, sure,
You know, I mean, I wouldn't want somebody
yeah.
doing that in front of my.
Well, I think that he's respectful. I
Oh,
think
of course,
that
of
he's trying
course.
to, you know,
Yeah.
see what's out there. The experiences that your brother had,
Yes.
he actually had UFO experiences. Did he have any
Okay.
like loss
Yeah.
of time?
Him and my mother actually saw a UFO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on top of Leominster City Hall.
Oh,
I believe back in the early 90s. My mother was going, as a matter of fact, there's a bank right across Leominster City Hall.
uh-huh.
There's actually three churches. There's two churches next to it. There's one across from it. And then on the other side, there's another church. Now, I guess my mother was going with my brother to make some type of deposit or something and turned around, looked up, and they saw a disc on top of Leominster City
So
Hall.
a regular, like oval,
It was like a
classic.
classic disc, and it was,
Okay.
I believe, it was gold color. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, I grabbed a chart of different disc of objects,
Yeah.
and I told him which one you think is closest to the one you've seen, and he pointed it out to me. But anyway, my mother turned around to him and said, "Don't ever mention to anybody that you saw this, because they're gonna make fun of us."
Especially in that
Fear,
time.
the
In that
fear.
time.
The fear.
You know, my mother grew up in a Pentecostal also, you know, so, you know,
So
she would ask me, because she knew that I kind of like always wandered into, you know, when I was a little kid, I always wandered to the TV and watching Search Of and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They don't
Leonard
let it anymore.
Nimoy,
My
Star
favorite
Trek.
Martian.
Oh, yeah.
So she knew.
She
So
knew.
she would ask me, you know, do you believe in this? And I go, yeah, what's the matter? And she would, no, nothing. But she passed away. She never mentioned anything to me. She just,
I was just going to ask you that. Your brother mentioned it, but your mother didn't.
yeah, my brother mentioned it.
So did your
and-
brother and mother ever talk about it? Did
No.
No, my brother did. My
Yeah.
brother did, but my mother,
Yeah.
no,
Did
she
he
would
have
never.
loss of time? What was his?
Oh no, there
life?
was no loss of time. They just saw that. They
There
just
must
saw
have been-
that.
There must have been other people seeing it too.
Well, it was a clear day, not a cloud in the sky that day.
Yeah.
So
cloud in
everybody
the
was
sky.
afraid to say anything.
Everyone's afraid.
That's the
But you know, also, you know, you might see it. You know, somebody might see it, and somebody might not.
That's true too. Somebody with
You
an
know?
ability.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with me. You know, I could have seen this thing, what I saw
Yeah.
back in Puerto Rico, but the kid you could have been with me. What are you looking at?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. You don't know if it's a screen memory or something on that idea, right?
You know, I think they choose to who's going to see them. You know,
They choose what?
they choose who they're going to reveal
Oh,
themselves to and who's going
I agree. I
to
agree
see
with
them.
that. Why would that appear to you as like a fly? Do you think it's because as a young boy, it's something that wouldn't scare you?
Maybe. I mean, you got to remember.
Isn't it something that your mind can kind of connect with? I know exactly what you're saying. Our mind can't comprehend what we see, so we try to
Yes.
the closest thing we can think of.
Yes.
Like
Exactly.
the Rock Man. Remember the Rock Man, the alien?
Yeah. Exactly.
All I could
Oh,
think
look at the way that some of these prophets or anything in the Bible mention any of the encounters. If you want to talk about paranormal stuff, look at the Bible. Okay,
Yeah.
the burning, the talking burning bush. Okay, or the Ezekiel's wheel. Okay, I mean the way he described it, you know, the only way that he could describe it was to
how he could comprehend
how
something.
he could comprehend something. You know, it's I believe also that your mind's trying to protect you.
Right.
Okay, and in order to protect you, that's what it's gonna use to say, this is what you saw. Okay.
Agreed.
Well, you know, what you just said is absolutely true. I don't know if you've been watching cartoons for the kids on Saturday morning, but
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of these little animated figures are all not human. And it sort of gets the kids used to something that's not a human.
They're programmed.
They're programmed, and it's been for a few years now.
Yeah, it's reconditioning. It's conditioning.
That's
Yes,
right.
it's
We were
conditioning.
always, when I watched cartoons when I was a little girl, it was always humanoid children.
Yeah.
These are all different. So now if a child sees that in their kitchen, it's not a big deal. It's just like,
Well,
TV's on.
Yeah, well, it's
It's
been
not
going on
so
for
shocking.
it's been going on for a long, long time. Well,
Yeah.
look at what shows like what was it? The one that you mentioned, My Dear Martian, is it, or
My favorite Martian.
My Favorite Martian, or Star Trek, okay, or any of the other shows? It's all a part of conditioning.
All prep.
Lost
And if you see now, a lot of the shows that are being geared to, a lot of them have been disasters. A lot of them are disaster movies, like asteroids hitting the planet or comet. It's all, then you hear it on the news, a certain asteroid was 1,000,000 kilometers from the planet. And then NASA didn't see it until it whooshed by.
Yeah.
Look at Star Wars. I don't know if you're familiar with the Mandalorian. It's the show on Disney.
Oh yeah, The Mandalorian.
Mandalorian, that's it.
Yeah,
Oh, I love
yeah.
that with little Yoda. He's so cute.
Yeah.
But when they go into the bars or whatever, the creatures there are unbelievable. That's like, wow.
Yeah. George Lucas had quite the imagination, huh?
Yeah, where'd he get that?
Yeah, right.
I
Maybe
mean,
he's
it's
alien. Maybe he's
Oh,
an
you
alien.
think? You think?
Absolutely.
He's a rich one now.
A rich
And,
alien.
and that's on a Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Where children watch this all the time.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of stuff that.
they're getting them used to things that are not what they're normal.
There's a lot of stuff with Disney that I don't think is very.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
yes,
have
yes.
read paragraphs and paragraphs about Disney. I mean, it's geared towards
I was
children,
shocked.
and so we
Yeah,
have
a lot of subliminal stuff that they use. I mean, many years ago, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. The Little Mermaid, they had to pull like the first production movie posters out. Okay,
why?
and they had to move them out because if you looked at the spheres of the city in Atlantis, right, the Little Mermaid, they look like a male appendage.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And they got taken. I mean, they got called out on it. I mean, it was blunt, very, very blunt. I mean, if you take a look at it, it was very. So there's a lot of subliminal things that are, especially in the Disney movies towards kids. There's a lot of subliminal.
Are you tying that into like child trafficking and?
This is a very interesting subject. You know what I mean? I've spoken about it on. I've interviewed and spoken about it. There's a simple fact of 800 missing kids a year, 800,000 as a matter of fact.
And so
Okay.
some of those things that you see, like phallic symbols and whatnot on cartoons and what, are actually coded messages.
Oh yeah.
Decide,
If I could show you I could send you guys some stuff that's on the Vatican. That if your glasses will fall off.
They're falling off anyway.
They would just blip. And it's but this is out this is out in daylight.
Look at the current music awards that was just on in January, February, and all the symbolisms of demonic.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people are not aware of this. They're very.
We're being fed this. We're being
Yes.
fed this all the time.
Yeah.
We have no clue.
So someone made the suggestion, and we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the pandemic and how it's affecting you and what's going on. But someone suggested that some of what's going on is to divert our attention from the secret stuff that's going on in the government, conspiracy theories.
Well, I mean, first of all, you got to see who's making money in this.
That's right.
Follow
the money.
Follow the money. That's what Deb says. Follow the money.
Then you got so-called experts, and you got to get like Bill Gates,
Yeah.
who likes to talk about a vaccine.
Yeah.
But did you know that Bill Gates himself, his wife, and his kids do not get vaccinated for anything?
I go along with that. I
Yeah, the
Okay.
did not have a
nights
flu
and all
expert.
that.
I did not have a flu
So
thingy this year.
yeah,
Well, I had to.
Well, you had to. I'm just
yeah.
decided I'm not
I'm
doing
fine.
it
And,
anymore.
and if
So,
you wanna go back to the subject of indoctrination,
yeah,
how many people have you seen driving around with a mask on in their own cars?
their own cars, right, right. So why are they
Okay.
doing that?
Well, I believe that it's just gotten to the point where they're so used to it.
I was
Okay,
thinking fear, fear
and they've
based,
been. I think they're just used to it already.
indoctrinated.
They're we are creatures of habit.
Yeah,
Okay,
Big time.
and I don't think we're not too different than a herd of cattle.
But
You
you
know.
know, I think also it's trying to, even our kids, it's trying to teach them to be separate and not to
Oh yeah, I
I
mean,
saw a picture of these children in school and they were
I
separated and they
agree.
had the masks on and it looked like they were in jail.
Yeah,
Kids want to be
of course.
free and they want to, be with other children and talk and laugh
oh, we're
and
social
I
animals.
agree.
we are social animals,
Saw a
right?
photo of a school on,
And
I
what are we
believe in
teaching?
France, and there was these kids in blocks that they
Yeah,
stayed in one little block area where they were playing out in the playground. You
that's
know,
awful. That's awful.
but it's you could go back and you might think about conspiracy, but you might go back and think, if they don't keep us together, we don't get to organize,
Right. There's
we don't get
strength in
to.
numbers.
And if you look at and if you start looking at this, if you start stepping back and you start saying, geez, I mean, okay, it's okay to riot, okay,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, we got a First Amendment right to go ahead
Yeah.
and be in protest, not riot,
Right.
but protest. Okay, so you got these people that could protest, but you can't have these people assemble at a church.
I know it.
Okay, you start thinking about that, and you start, if you don't start questioning it,
Yeah,
there's a problem.
there's a problem.
And I think
I
that,
agree.
and I hope that people start questioning,
Waking up.
waking up.
I hope so too. I made the comment just the other day. There's a place called Rosie's Place in Boston, which is a very poor place and blah, blah, blah. Through this whole pandemic, they have not closed their doors once.
Hmm.
Yet these churches and people need their churches and all this,
They
even
haven't?
more so than ever before. And the churches close their doors.
I'm surprised they didn't get fined.
They close their doors. Rosie's Place
Well,
never
I
closed.
I believe that you got to use common sense. A lot of people.
too. People they need.
Look at the subways and the airplanes, for example.
Yeah.
When did you think that they should have started sanitizing those things?
Mhm.
They should have been doing those years ago.
Right away.
That's right.
Sure.
Years ago.
Normally, just normally.
And that
Yeah,
was
this should have been like second nature. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people touch these things. They sit there, and they, clean them.
I have to tell you, I'm watching this show on Netflix called High Seas, and they're just starting their third season. And their third season is about a man-made virus that someone takes onto a ship and is going to unleash
nice.
into the world. So, you know what I mean? It's like people say it's man-made. I totally kind of agree with that. But the end result is that we're here and we kind of need to deal with it.
Yeah.
How has it
Oh, yeah.
affected you, your radio show, and your life? How has the pandemic
I
affected
think it hasn't affected my radio show at all, because just like this, I mean, we
Virtual.
could we could
I
do
don't know.
virtual.
Yeah.
The only difference is that I don't do video. I do audio.
You do the audio?
Yeah, we just
And
do
what
audio
about-
only.
What about your day job? The thing
Oh
that
no,
you
my
do for the-
department was one of the first ones to get hit, but where
Yeah.
I work at, they spend a lot of money on a group of people that come in and do cleaning, they do sanitizing. So anything that gets touched every hour, somebody's wiping it down.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, those are things that are common sense. You still got to wear a mask. And I don't have an issue with that.
So did
you
you
know,
have,
The
so-
only place that I'm not going to be wearing a mask, and excuse me,
Yeah.
is during my radio show, in my car,
Yeah.
or in my own home,
Yeah.
or in my own property.
Right, right.
I'm not going to be wearing a mask.
Right, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So did anyone in the company get furloughed, or did the company just stay open and take?
Oh no, we stayed open. We stayed open.
Okay,
Yeah, we stayed
Oh,
open.
Good.
yeah, somewhat unusual.
Good.
Yeah,
Me
Yes,
too.
Yes.
yeah.
Muriel,
Unlike there's a hospital in Cape Cod that closed down completely.
I know, I know.
You know, so that kind of makes you kind of,
Yeah. For our show at the height of the pandemic, I have some family members that are frontline, and we
Mhm.
actually asked one of the nurses to come on the show and kind of talk to us about what it's like to be. She works at Beth Israel. Oh no, Women's and Brigham.
Brigham and Women's.
Brigham and she was not able to. She said, I can't. She said, we were told that we can't interact on social media or anything on that idea, they would lose their jobs.
Well,
So-
everything is not the way it's.
Yeah.
I
Wonder.
I will tell you this. I went to put an inspection sticker on the car.
Huh?
Okay. And
Inspection sticker.
an inspection sticker.
Okay.
And I'm waiting, you know, and this lady comes out of her car. She was next, and I said, "No, let her go. She could go after, you know, she could go right ahead. I could wait.
Such a
I got some time."
Chivalry
Right.
is not dead.
I kind of figured, you know, well, anyway, we start talking, you know, and how crazy this thing is, you know, and with the mask and everything else. She's like, "Tell me about it." And come to find out, she's a supervisor at the
Wait.
local ER here
Oh
in
my
Leominster.
gosh.
Wow.
Okay. And you know, we start talking, and she says, "Hey, listen, you know, I got people in my unit that will not, they won't even take the flu shot." Okay.
I
Now
hear
they
that.
work here, and you know, and they're talking about making this mandatory.
I
She
heard that.
goes,
too.
which is wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong. But anyway, so she starts talking, and she says to me, "Hey, listen, now there's a certain medication that we're using here, and it's pretty effective, but they only give us so much of it,
Yeah.
and it gets distributed all around the country, and
Yeah.
certain hospitals get so much, and so on. I think it's a hydroxyl one that,
Hydroxychloride or
yeah,
something.
that one, you know. But
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you know, but you know, again, going back to the subject, the same people who are selling this, um, what do you call it, vaccine, are the same people who talk about population control.
Yeah.
Okay, and who's been hit the hardest with all this?
Right. The
The
older,
elderly.
the
The
infirm.
elderly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you know, these are the same people talking, you know, population control and this and that. And, you know, those are the kind of people that you got to be really worry about.
Yeah.
You know, one is because, you know, they got a way of, they got the means of doing this because they got the money.
Right.
Okay. They got the connections.
Right.
Okay. And, you know, like you had said, you know, people will hopefully start beginning to wake up,
I hope so.
you know?
I heard exactly the same thing,
Yeah.
that the herd is being culled.
Yes.
And you mentioned Jobs. Did you mention Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs.
No. Who did you mention?
Gates.
Gates. Okay.
Yeah.
Bill Gates. World Health
Steve
Organization.
Jobs died.
He actually was the biggest contributor to that organization.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's kind of,
Yeah.
you know, they're in his pocket or
Yeah,
wherever.
there's a whole big world agenda behind all this.
All
You know,
over
that people, that people don't know about. You know, you start looking into places like the World Economic Forum that's done every year. You start looking into who those people are and their agendas, and it's you would just say, oh my God! I mean, it almost sounds like stuff that was done during when the Nazis were around.
I know.
Okay.
It's being
It's
done.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and then this is all happening while everybody's distracted, you know, with life,
Right.
okay, and everything else. You know, so many people are so worried about what Beyonce is gonna wear,
Right.
or
Oh.
what Kim Kardashian's gonna what shoes that she's gonna wear.
She gonna
You know?
divorce her husband? What's going on there?
I mean, you know, and
Oh my
and really who cares? But
And plus the Trump election and all of that. I mean,
you know, there's so much, you know, there's so much hate, okay, and there's so much, you know, and let me tell you, you start listening to things, and you know, things could be shown to you one way, and you're gonna believe it, you know, and
Right.
if you hear something being said enough, you start believing it.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Children
I
pick
mean,
this stuff up.
yeah, we have to be responsible for ourselves to do our own research and
Right.
not get our information from Facebook or
Right.
get our information from these so-called reliable sources. I don't even
Well,
trust the media. As a matter of fact, and excuse me, I don't even trust the media. I think they lost our credibility.
oh,
4 years
absolutely.
ago,
And
four
these
years ago,
children
they
are
were,
home all
yeah,
day.
4 years ago, they were pushing this person and saying that they were going to get elected, and they didn't get elected at all.
Right.
Okay, and this is people that these are the people that are supposed to be biased.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
okay, and I'm not going to talk here about politics or anything else, but what I'm saying is that you got to be able to make your own determination, okay, and really do your own homework on a lot of this
What you were
stuff.
saying about the TV and news reporting and everything, these children are home all day. A lot of them are
Of
out of
course,
school.
this is the worst
The
one. Never mind the
TV's on.
TV. This is the worst one right here.
The TV's on, and what's being fed to them, these
Yeah.
children. I was with a 6-year-old, and then he's telling me all about Trump, and I'm like, how do you know? You're 6 years old.
Yeah,
But
well,
he had a definite opinion. He
yeah,
did.
so it's
It's sad. It was so sad.
yes, it is. It is.
I think a lot of it is fear porn as well. I'm lucky enough that I don't know, and none of my family members or close friends have gotten sick. And I'm suppose if you have someone who has gotten sick or worse, then that fear porn is just kind of understood.
Hey, and don't get me wrong, this is real.
Yeah, yeah.
This is real.
So I think
But-
it is. It's just
But also, I think we don't have to be. Everybody thinks that we need to be in a bubble, And look at these people in Florida and some of these states. Use common sense.
just use common sense, right? Wash your hands.
Yeah.
Stuff that your grandmother told you. I was talking to my own doctor, and she said, obviously, this is a form of the SARS virus, which is not
Yes.
new to us.
Mm-hmm.
So
SARS killed more people.
It killed a lot of people, and
More
there's
people.
a lot of different strains.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people like us who seem to be immune to it. Thank goodness. Thank you, universe. Okay. And she says the reason for that probably is because we've had some version of it in the past and
Built
now
up
have built up
Yeah.
antibodies or an immunity.
Yeah. Well, you could tell. You're right, and you could tell the fear mongering because what's that guy, that Fucci or that doctor, the expert?
Yeah.
Oh, next year there'll be another version of this.
Right.
And this and that. I'm gonna tell you guys something real quick. I had a good friend of mine that I've had on my show. Okay,
Yeah.
she and her family, but she believed that they contracted it. They had the symptoms and everything. Now they went to this is in Ohio, so it was coming out this way, working its way over.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, "Oh, Willie, man, it looks apocalyptic out here. They got the tents, they got the people in the hazmat suits, and she goes, they grabbed each one of us, they segregated us. They tested, they started working on me, working on my husband, working on my son, but they had us in separate rooms. She says the first thing they gave me was a spoonful, right, of elderberry syrup.
I heard that too.
I've been taking
So
some.
can you imagine? Isn't that interesting? Huh? So
Yeah.
when she told me that, she goes, Willie, I suggest that you go and get some and I got some elderberry syrup, and now I got the capsules. So
Yeah.
what I do is like every day I take a capsule of elderberry syrup or elderberry, and a 30 milligram of iron,
Mhm.
okay, and to build up your immune system.
Well,
You know?
I have been saying that right from the beginning. The best defense is a healthy body.
Yeah,
Get
correct. Because if you gotta, a lot of these people, you've seen a lot of some athletes get it,
Yeah,
and they've had a compromised immune system.
right.
Okay, you start looking at somebody and you're going, oh my God, he got sick. He's
Yeah,
freaking,
Yeah.
he's healthy. He looks healthy, but you don't really know what their immune system's like.
Or what their lifestyle is like too.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
Sleep,
Right.
stress,
Correct.
a lot of other things.
Stress, because stress will take your
Having all
your
that
immune
money,
system.
that can be very stressful.
We can help them with that part. We can help
Millions
with
of
that part.
dollars, and oh my, what am I going to do with it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Before we close, Mr. Willie, let me ask you one last question.
Yes.
What impact do you want to make on the world? Where do you see yourself like in 5 years? What impact?
Oh, I see myself doing the same thing. I
Yeah.
believe I'll probably try and venture into writing something.
Ah,
Okay.
that's what
All
I
right.
see.
I got many friends in the field, and also in the business.
No, Ma.
Okay, in the publishing business.
Yep.
So I've gotten a lot of advice. Okay, but I mean, I really want to stick out there and really help anybody get their information out, get their ideas out concerning any of this.
Make people
Nice.
more aware, right?
Yes, yes,
Get their stories out.
yes.
Okay.
Of course,
Of
of course. And my show, before we cut, is on every Friday, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. and it's on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. So if you got Alexa,
Called Paradigm Matrix.
yeah, it's the
Friday, 9
paradigm,
p.m.
it's the
Eastern Time.
paradigm matrix. Yep,
Yes.
the
Okay.
paradigm matrix.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So how can, if people want
Can you put this on the chat, please?
Yes, we can put this on the show. This is Muriel,
Hey,
and
Muriel, how are you?
she's
I'm
been.
fine. I
Thank
want
you.
to ask you a question.
Go right
Sure.
ahead.
When you said elderberry syrup and you said something else, what was the something else?
Oh, it was iron.
Oh, iron. Was that an iron pill? But that makes you constipated.
Just
If you
Just-
take enough of it, because I can attest to that. Just take less, or eat corn when you take it.
yeah. Yeah, don't
Well,
don't take
can
too
you-
much
can
of
you-
it.
Can you put that website or whatever on the chat for me?
I can, and I was just going to ask Willie if people want to know more about you or get in contact with you. How do they do that,
Eat
Dawn?
spinach. That's a
No,
good
that's
idea.
not how to get a hold of him. How
No.
do they get a hold of you?
And
Yeah,
at
they
what time are you on, Willie?
Fridays?
9 p.m. Friday.
9 p.m. Eastern time?
Yeah, Eastern time. Yes.
9
Yeah.
p.m. Okay.
And tell her again what station. It's K.
Yeah. So we'll go and say
Oh, is this on a radio station?
no, it's on the internet.
Podcast.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
on the internet.
Or you could
Yes.
watch it on your phone.
You could
Yes.
also listen on your phone. Also, you could dial in and listen to. Let me get you the number for
Well,
that.
I
real quick.
tried to listen to you on my computer and I got no sound.
Really?
So that's
Mhm.
probably your computer issue. He's going to get a number for you.
Yeah. So let me get a number real quick here. Okay. And you could call in. All right. So let me give you the number here real quick.
Okay, so this telephone number will put her on the live show.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Matter of fact, bear with me here.
No problem. I'm going to
All right.
write it down too, and I'll put it on the meetup site.
But
Someone-
what do you mean, if you call this number, you're on the show?
well, you have a cell phone, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So if you dial this number 641
Yeah.
741
Mm-hmm.
0800,
Yeah.
you could listen to the show and it won't cost you anything on your data plan.
Just dial that
Yep. Just dial that.
at 9 p.m.
Yep. And you could
every
dial it.
night.
Yeah.
Okay, Willie, are you on every night?
No, I'm on Friday nights.
Okay, Friday night.
Yeah.
Muriel,
Okay.
how did you hear about the show? Facebook, Meetup? How did you know the show was on today?
I'm on Meetup.
Okay, all right. So I'll post it on Meetup and I'll put it in a private message for you as well to make sure you get the information. Okay?
Well, thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
thank you for all this. I'm
No,
sure
not a
I'll
problem.
go out and get elderberry syrup.
That's it.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, Willie,
Yeah.
there was a doctor who suggested two things: high doses of vitamin C
Yes.
and reishi mushroom
Yes.
Oh, reishi
what?
mushrooms.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I've heard doctors give doctors that were giving like straight intravenously vitamin C.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
really?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now, vitamin C, though, a lot of it can really get you sick also. So you got to be really careful.
I didn't think that was true. They said if you took too much, you just have rich urine. How can it make you
Well, you know, I guess some people,
What can I say?
I guess some people
You
are,
have,
What I
yeah,
heard.
I
you
guess some
have too
people
much
are,
of anything. You
Yeah.
get
Well, vitamin D,
Yeah.
vitamin A, vitamin E, if you can actually take too much of that.
well, look at the iron. You get you
What?
constipated. So,
Iron.
Yeah, I'm not
minutes.
touching the iron. I have enough problems as it
yeah,
is.
but I think the elderberry syrup, I think is, you know, they sell them in
It's a good
capsules.
idea. Yeah.
You know, they sell it in capsules on Amazon.
They
I
do.
actually take
And-
capsules.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're $10 for, I believe it's like
Yeah, it was not expensive.
200 or 500, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, my patient's 102 and we give her elderberry capsules every day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do. That's a ritual for me. It's boop.
Do you think
and
I can find that at CVS?
I
would
think you can
think
find it at
so.
CVS or Walmart. I
Sure.
think
Okay.
Walmart has it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be able to find them.
Right there with the turmeric and.
Yes.
Do you have any, Muriel, do you have any more questions for us? or for
No,
you?
I think you guys were wonderful, except that I only came halfway because I couldn't get you on.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. We're happy to have you, and hopefully you'll catch the whole show next time.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure, Muriel. Bye.
Mr. Willie, thank you so very much. Tell people again how they can get a hold of you if they want to.
Yes, my email is Willy Miranda. So that's WILLYMIRANDA at theparadigmmatrix.com. That is my email.
Okay.
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 And like I said, you could go to the KCOR website, which is www.kcorradio.com.
Okay. I'm gonna put it up on the meetup site because we have over 450 members there. So we like to keep them in touch.
Oh, awesome.
in touch.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a few of the guests that you've had on, like Nomar and,
Yeah.
and Mike Stevens, I've had them on my show.
Yeah, I know you have.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
totally awesome. All right, my darling. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure, my pleasure.
Thank you.
Nice to see you, meet you for the first time.
Thank you. Likewise. And I
Thank
hope that when this is over, we could have lunch or something.
Oh,
It'd be great. It'd be great.
definitely.
That'd be wonderful.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I am gonna end the show right here. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you again really soon.
Thank you very much. You guys stay safe, okay?
Thank you. You
will.
too.
God bless. Bye.
Elderberry.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't walk in front of the bus.
Don't walk in front of me.